light's making me look great.
What's up everyone, Cam here, and today I'm with my good friend Neeta Bhushan. She's the author of Emotional Grit.
That's right.
Emotionalgrit.com.
Emotionalgrit.com, yeah.
And I'm really excited to have her here because she is an expert on emotions and emotional grit, and it comes from a doctor background.
Yeah.
And so,
you don't have to call me doctor today though. We're cool.
So Neeta, just quickly introduce yourself and kind of share a bit about what you're up to.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Dr. Neeta Bhushan, and Cam, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you. We're like in this cabana outside, poolside.
Pool, yeah.
Can't really see it, but a little bit about my background. I have a degree in psychology. I was a cosmetic dentist, and so early on, my previous life was all about helping others kind of with their emotions, right? Nobody really ever wanted to see a dentist. And so I did that for a good portion of my life, and then I started doing some consulting, and then I realized what is really missing in today's leadership. And what I mean by that is I lost 3 of my family members before I was 19. So, and I can say this with a straight face, but obviously I was orphaned before I was 19. I lost my mom, my dad, and my brother to medical diseases. And so it was early on when, you know, you have these points and these challenges of resilience in your life that make you think differently. And so as I was kind of transitioning from one spot to another, really understanding, well, we're all gonna have really low points of our life. And it was, for me, it was a personal battle of loss and grief. For you, it's obviously going to be different. And I know that we're kind of talking about this because managing emotions, understanding emotions, and really talking about them, especially for men and young men, is really not, there's not really a safe space to do so. So I wrote a book. I actually traveled the world to over 45 different countries. I stopped working as a dentist because I was so curious to really understand more about what makes people tick. What is this human dynamics, these human behavior dynamics that we all have, and what makes leaders around the world succeed in how they actually, you know, think differently. And so that's where Emotional Grit came about and was born to life, because grit is really the essence of how we can process our emotions.
And the reason it's so important is because what I see a lot in the community is when you quit gaming, that's the beginning of you actually going through an emotional journey. So especially initially, you're gonna feel anxious, you're gonna feel nervous, you're gonna feel uncertainty, you're gonna feel grief and loss because you're moving on from something that that has meant so much to you. Maybe you're even losing your friends. So there are all these emotions that are happening, but what's interesting is those emotions have actually been happening all along. It's just you've been numbing them through gaming. So to remove gaming is to remove the thing that was allowing you from having to experience these emotions. And that can be very intense.
It's almost like you've had a Band-Aid on for so long, and that Band-Aid upon another Band-Aid upon another Band-Aid was literally that mask, okay? So it became a mask over yourself. And when you remove that, obviously, if you rip a Band-Aid off really fast, like cold turkey, like you stop gaming for 90 days or however long the initial period is, it's going to hurt. You're going to feel something. And you know, why is it important to actually feel that? Well, because that kind of allows you to heal, right? So when we rip the Band-Aid off, what do we see? We see an open wound. But over time, that wound gets better. Over time, that wound heals. Over time, you know, that wound isn't red anymore. It becomes a nice scab, and then it heals accordingly. So that's the best, I guess, analogy, or, you know, from a doctor's standpoint that I can give. Because we bruise ourselves all the time, and, you know, in your instance, it's gaming. For some people, it's food. For a lot of my community, it's food. You know, they're overeating or under eating because they desire to look a certain way, or because they can't really process their emotions if they lost a job or they've had a bad breakup, so they eat their way through everything. And so I talk about this a lot. There are several different types of addictions, but the reality is once we remove that barrier between you and really getting to know yourself, really processing that is probably the best, I would have to say, the best thing you can actually do for yourself to heal.
So I know that you have a process that people can go through in order to connect with their emotions, identify what they are, and be able to actually go through them. And so how does someone actually do that?
Yeah, so I have a couple of different processes, but the way that, you're starting out. So if you're starting out, you're watching this video, you're enrolled in the program, you're enrolled in the community with Cam, you've already made that first step. And that first step is really to be open to growth. So being open to growth is the first step in GRIT. GRIT is an acronym, and essentially what it is grow, reveal, innovate, and then transform. So the second step, when you're open to growth, which is why you're here with us right now, you're starting to reveal that next aspect of you. So you've already ripped the Band-Aid off. You're starting to experience this overwhelm of emotions. Many of you might feel really bad feelings like depression or anxiety or overwhelm or stress or how the heck am I going to get through this? But revealing that, it's almost like hitting rock bottom. And I promise you, it doesn't get any worse than that, because now you're able to kind of fill yourself up with who you really want to be, what that next phase of life, what the next phase of life looks like for you, what you actually want to be doing. And so you're here because you have a full network and a full community of support. So that's revealing that next level of yourself. So the next step would be to innovate. So that means to really accept where you're at, whether it's rock bottom, and really honoring it. So honoring where you're actually at, not numbing the pain, because we're over that. That was the past programming, that was your past behaviors. Now you are where you are. Similar to what I tell, my community. If you're 30 pounds overweight, you're 30 pounds overweight, and that's okay. No one's gonna judge you, it's totally fine. If it's been 2 days since you've stopped gaming, congratulations, let's celebrate it. That's phenomenal. If it's been 3 days, if it's only been a week, that's fantastic. We need to celebrate our small wins. Our small wins are everything. And it's going to be the keys, because we're all really hard on ourselves, and we put these unrealistic expectations to do more. But celebrating the small wins along the way is totally important for you to actually keep this and sustain the gaming, the no gaming. And then lastly, transformation, T in GRIT. And that means you're ready to commit. You're committing to a new reality. You're committing to yourself. And that's hard. That takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of bravery. That takes courage. It takes the courage to say no. No to the things that no longer serve you. As tempting and easy it is, it's easier to go back because you already know that. It's harder because you're going into the unknown, which is why all these feelings are going to be coming up. And so, as you asked, what's the tool that I use that you all can actually use as well? You can come on the website as well, emotionalgrit.com. We've got all these free resources, and you can actually download this. Heddle. We've already talked about really honoring where you're at, and that's a really huge step, because you're making big strides, and if we don't celebrate that, then we're going to get frustrated and we're not going to go forward. Okay, we limit ourselves because we're thinking, we'll be fine in 2 days, in 3 days, and it doesn't work that way. It's like grief. You're losing a part of you that is no longer valid, and in order to leave that part, things need to hurt, and it's okay. It's part of the process. So many of us tend to put, so many things to distract ourselves. We get super busy with our lives. You work a lot, or you're eating a lot, or you're doing all these other things, but it's okay to just be and honor that. Honor that. What I mean by honor, I mean set aside maybe 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, so that you can journal or reflect or meditate or think or walk around to the block. Honor those emotions. Number 2, you want to be able to experience the emotions. So if you've chosen to think about it or take a walk around the block or to just sit with your feelings or to journal, you want to be able to experience what is actually happening right now. And it sounds super silly, but it works. So you want to be able to experience them. So what is really happening for you right now? Okay, are you feeling worthless? Are you feeling with low confidence? Are you feeling just like an ass? Are you feeling that you're not able to do that? Are you feeling that urge? Are you feeling super depressed? What emotions, what negative emotions are coming up? Are you experiencing that you want to distract yourself? Because the more aware that you are, you're growing. Just like the G and grit, you're growing. So you want to be able to experience it. Now, what I tell people is you want to set aside maybe 10 to 15 minutes to journal, maybe in the morning or at night. But maybe you don't even like to write it down. Maybe you're somebody that likes to record yourself. You can press record and just spit out exactly what you're feeling. Some people actually scream, and that's totally okay. So whatever that looks like for you, honor it and experience it. Now the last 2, we're putting those aside. The last 2 is really detach. So detach yourself from that, okay? You are not those emotions. You are not the crabby, psychopathic person, right? We all have different phases. We all have different masks of ourselves, of our personality. There are days where sometimes I just don't feel like getting up out of bed. Maybe it's that time of the month for me, you know, like, but I'm honoring that, but that does not define who I am. So I can look at myself and not judge myself and be compassionate towards myself and say, you know what, I'm having a bad day, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna have this low point for the rest of the week, the month, the years. No, it's just one day. It might even be 5 minutes. But detach. Detach yourself from what you're actually feeling. And then you want to be able to let go. Let go. And I can only say this a million times. Let go, because all of those feelings don't serve you anymore. And that's the path of really forgiving yourself. And so I hope this helps for you. I would love to hear all of your thoughts and your comments below as well.
Yeah, it's super important. And for me, as I've gone through this journey myself, learning to be with my emotions, being aware of what they are, and then accepting them for what they are, and not having to run or escape or numb or do anything, but just allow them to be what they are, not identify with them, and take steps forward towards what is it that I truly want and what do I desire in my life, and aligning my behavior with that. That's really what's transformed my life. So I definitely think spot on. She's very articulate, far more articulate than I am, and her work is amazing. So definitely go follow Neeta. Definitely check out emotionalgrit.com, and for all those resources, we'll have links below. But yes, super thankful that we got to do this finally today.
Finally, and, I know. It was a pleasure to serve you all today.
Definitely stay in touch with her because she's really amazing. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye. Rock on, baby. That's awesome.
It wouldn't be a Cam YouTube video without some fucking babies crying in the background.